And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're getting to 300,000, getting real close. So please hit subscribe, watch, comment. Keep those comments coming and share with your friends. Let's keep building this community because insanity, it's not stopping. Now, yesterday, our favorite MAGA misinformation spreader, Karoline Leavitt, performed to the audience of the briefing room. Now, starting off strong, really strong, she spouted lies about tariffs. She just couldn't help herself. It's the most incredible thing when you know that she's lying and she does it with such a straight face. Play the clip.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
They
don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary.
Yeah, let me be very clear about something. The reason he's testing your knowledge, Karoline, is because you have none. You're 27 years old with no experience whatsoever. You don't have a fucking clue what you're even talking about. You are basically spewing horse shit off of a talking points memo that is given to you daily for your briefings, plain and simple. All you need to do is to praise your fearless leader regardless of what he says or regardless of what he's doing. Oh, you don't think that that's true? Let me show you. Play the clip.
So we are in a period of transition from that economic nightmare under a president who had no idea what he was doing, never held a private sector job in his life, into a golden age of American manufacturing under a businessman and a deal maker in chief in President Donald J. Trump, who is implementing the formula that we know works. Look at President Trump's results in his first term. If people are looking for certainty, they should look at the record of this president. That's why the American people reelected him back to this office. And
no, and no. You know, as I mentioned in this morning's video, Peter Doocy from Fox News, Peter Doocy, seems to be on the Democratic team. Right? I mean, he's not shying away from attacking Trump. He even goes so far and he asks Karoline Leavitt about the Dow Jones plummeting. He's doing a better messaging job than the Democrats. Play the clip.
Thank you, Karoline. So you said that the Dow dropping is a period of transition. You're sure nobody here at the White House shorted the Dow?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But is there...
What if hypothetically you find out that they did? How would you even know? I mean, none of this makes any sense at all. What you did just do, Karoline, without even realizing, you acknowledged that the Dow is falling. Oh my God. And it's falling under your fearless leader's leadership. Not under Biden. You can't blame Biden for everything. Because when Biden left, the stock market, the Dow, was at an all-time high. Doocy also had this concise line about the irony of Trump's policies. Play that clip.
And we also expect the White House to try to reassure folks who are sitting there looking at their 401ks going down and down and down. This is a White House that came in trying to get federal workers to retire by the hundreds of thousands, but it's tough to make the argument that you should retire if your retirement accounts are getting throttled, which is what is happening right now. So we hope for answers to all of these curiosities any minute. John?
What an absolutely brilliant observation. Think about this. They're trying to force government workers into retirement, saying that you have enough to live on based off of your retirement, your 401k. But as we're watching the stock market plunge, we're watching people's 401ks over the period of just the last 2 weeks lose approximately 20%. So now not only are you trying to force people into retirement, but what they're going to retire on is 20% less than what it was 2 weeks ago. Problem. Karoline was also asked about the possibility of a recession. I just want you to pay close attention to her answer and see whose remarks they kind of resemble. Play the clip.
Kick off our briefing. Thank you.
Really appreciate you having me, Caroline. A couple of questions for you, if I may. First on the stock market. So currently it's the 25th anniversary today of the dot-com bubble crash. There's a lot of concern for a lot of Americans right now about the state of the economy. President Trump has refused to rule out a recession. Secretary Lutnick, however, has told us there will not be one. So can the White House just tell and assure Americans today that there's not going to be a recession?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me start by saying that, first of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
No, he didn't. And all you have to do is go back and check. But I will tell you, recent reportings by many different outlets, including, for example, Politico, are saying that Trump allies are blaming Secretary Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary Lutnick, for Trump's tariff turmoil, that he guided him wrongly. Now, Trump, of course, has to own some of it, but this is not a good start for Lutnick. Not even in the slight, because as these tariff turmoils continue, Trump is going to need to blame someone and throw someone under the bus. Remember how the first administration went. And let's see who I think is going to be the first to get booted. And I think he's top 3. Now, Karoline was also asked if she thinks Trump has a responsibility for the decline in the stock market. Play that clip.
Karen.
Thanks, Caroline. Just back on the markets, you said that what we're seeing this week right now on Wall Street is a snapshot of a moment in time. But does the president think he bears any responsibility for the turmoil in the stock market this week?
Look, the president is unwavering in his commitment to restore American manufacturing and global dominance. And I think he doubled down on that this morning with his new statement and the tariffs that will be implemented tomorrow on steel and aluminum.
Let me just go one step further. A lot of this decline is the direct result of the tariffs and all of the uncertainty. I just want to read you a quick paragraph from the Politico article that says White House and administration officials, as well as Trump's outside allies, and he has many of them, are growing increasingly frustrated with Lutnick, privately complaining about the close proximity he has to the president and the counsel he is giving him on economic issues. It's an exasperation compounded by recent television appearances, they say, that suggest a lack of understanding of even the basics about how tariffs and the economy works. This is the guy who is your Secretary of Commerce. God bless. Right? Now, a reporter asked if we still consider Canada a close ally. Play that clip.
On Canada, after all of these threats to increase tariffs or turn off electricity, I wonder, does this administration still consider Canada to be a close ally of the United States?
Well, I think Canada is a neighbor. They are a partner. They have always been an ally. Perhaps they are becoming a competitor now. But as the president also laid out in his Truth Social post today, he believes that Canadians would benefit greatly from becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. And I actually looked into some of the research about the cost of living in Canada, and the cost of living is much higher than it is here in the United States of America. The average cost of a home in Canada is much higher. In Quebec, the highest tax rate for an income of $150,000 or more is 53.3%, more than half of Canadians' incomes they are being taxed on. So the president has made it clear that he believes Canadians would be better served economically, militarily, if they were to become the 51st state of the United States of America. Reagan.
Thank you, Karoline.
How about if we worry about our own people here in America instead of trying to take on somebody else's country? I mean, talk about how stupid that comment is. I want to just say one last thing about why this is all happening and why I believe that Lutnick will be one of the 3 first people to be booted. Because even as Politico turns around and states that Lutnick has also on multiple points over the course of the past week gotten out in front of the president on announcements and contradicted Trump's messaging. That, my friends, is a bad, bad situation. I've seen that happen. I saw it happen in 2017. And again, I saw it happen with Reince Priebus. I saw it happen with Sean Spicer. I saw it happen with a multitude of people. And they all got the boot in the first round. Now, the conversation, of course, turned to Mahmoud Khalil. That's the Columbia student that has now been detained for deportation based upon Trump's executive order outlawing illegal protests at universities, schools, and programs that are federally funded. This is not, and I want to repeat this, this is not an Israel versus Palestine scenario. This is not Israel versus Hamas. This is about our First Amendment rights, something, as you all know, I know a lot about. Play the clip.
Rubio reserves the right to revoke the visa of Mahmoud Khalil, and I'm glad you brought this up. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke a green card or a visa for individuals who serve or are adversarial to the foreign policy and national security interests of the United States of America. And Mahmoud Khalil was an individual who was given the privilege of coming to this country to study at one of our nation's finest universities and colleges. And he took advantage of that opportunity, of that privilege, by siding with terrorists, Hamas terrorists who have killed innocent men, women, and children. This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own college campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda, flyers.
I don't think that's exactly how it's going to show. And by the way, what I would have wished somebody could have shown Karoline Leavitt during that answer, the market down 732 points. All right. Now, yesterday, before the House passed the funding bill, Trump had threatened Republican Representative Thomas Massie. He literally threatened him. He turned around and he said, "We are going to come after you." Imagine that. This is what Karoline Leavitt had to say about that. Play the clip.
Nick, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Caroline. So is the president prepared, like what we saw with Congressman Massey, to pressure other Republican lawmakers into supporting this continuing resolution?
Well, he is very much, as I said, engaged in this process. He's been making calls to lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and I think his statements against Congressman Massey speak for themselves, and I will let the president put out any additional statements if he chooses to, but he fully expects all House Republicans to vote for this continuing resolution.
She's got some great line of bullshit, doesn't she? I mean, it just rolls off her tongue. Now, lastly, Caroline and a reporter got into a discussion about Social Security, and Karoline revealed that she doesn't have any evidence. Imagine that. Play the clip.
Cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse out of these programs will protect it for hardworking Americans.
But Caroline, respectfully, he said around $500 to $700 billion. There was no evidence to claim that. And also, if that is the case, that would represent more than a third of what Social Security paid out last year, maybe 20% of Social Security and Medicare.
Again,
combined.
if you read his full quote, he said, "We think." So it's an estimate based on what he's seen. He's not saying definitively, he's saying that's what DOGE suspects and thinks. And that's exactly why DOGE was created, to ensure that we are investigating the fraudulent spending, the wasteful abuse across our federal government. And I would remind everybody in this room that 77% of the American people support this effort by Elon Musk and DOGE to identify such waste, fraud, and abuse. Go ahead.
That's also not true. Suffice it to say, they're looking to cut Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, something that each and every one of us who works has paid into year after year after year. Is the goal for them to privatize it? Is the goal for them to take the funds from it, use it somewhere else? Maybe, I don't know, purchase Doge coins or Bitcoins or cryptocurrency? I don't know. I don't know, because nobody has talked to us and provided us with a single policy. You know, everything is great. You know, everything is beautiful, and quite strongly, everything is going to be done very strongly. At the end of the day, not one policy has been put forth for the American people to review, to determine whether or not it benefits us or it hurts us. And that's why I'm going to be here day in and day out, bringing you facts, bringing you truth, something that you're not getting out of the briefing room. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.